going to work, and it is working. There's one, I don't know, maybe Yogi Berra said it, but they say you don't have permanent friends, you don't have permanent enemies, you just have permanent interests. And you ever heard that line? And that they always apply that to politics and nations, but in business, you don't have permanent friends and permanent enemies. I compete, like there's no tomorrow with you in the bid yesterday, and I may be partnering with you tomorrow, and we all know that, and we sit down and do it. And I don't find that so much when it comes to working the legislature. Sometimes, we got our red jerseys or our blue jerseys, and when we sit down at that table, we sit down a lot. In business, let's say we have an issue we're trying to figure out, we're trying to get to some consensus, and maybe we agree on 50%, but we disagree on a lot, but we know what the goal is. We try and figure out, starting from where we agree, where you go from there, and how you get to yes. And I sometimes find when I'm in the Capitol building, we start with what separates us. These are the lines. I'm not crossing that line. And we're trying to bridge that gap and move forward. And I think we are moving forward and making some extraordinary progress there. The other thing I find is it's interesting for me in the private sector. I'm used to having private conversations and working things through, and then once we've reached a pretty good resolution, maybe explaining that. And I've got to do a job of what we've got to do. In government, as Michelle keeps reminding me, everything's public, and not really very many private conversations, and that does sort of impact the nature of what you're trying to do. When I took over, a lot of people say I'm a little obsessed with the musical Hamilton, which is true, and I told the legislature in my first talk that you are in the room where it happens, and you're here to make a difference. You're not just here to get reelected. This is a state that's at a crossroads. This is a state that's put off a lot of tough decisions for a long time. I need you to stand up and make those tough decisions with me, and that's what we're doing. But when it comes to the nature of negotiations, the song was not in the room where it happens. The song was called "No One Else Was in the Room Where It Happens," and it's a song about Jefferson and Hamilton. And you remember Virginia and New York, and it was about to tear the country apart. And they got together in private and reached an agreement where the capital was down Washington, Virginia area, and New York was the financial capital, and they held the country together. And probably would have been a little tougher if Kevin Redding was blind copying all of Thomas Jefferson's emails. Or if Mark Davis had the TV camera the whole time we're trying to get a conversation going. But, by the way, private sector guys, it's a different world, and people are really distrustful. And they're distrustful of the elites, they're distrustful of government. I hear that wherever I go. We used to have our nickname Corrupticut, so I, as a private sector guy, I've also got to understand we're in a new environment. And I've got to do everything I can to remind people that we're doing everything we can in the best interests, and have to do a great job of explaining each and everything that we're trying to do. You maybe noticed that I've successfully avoided the word totals when it comes to doing tough stuff. And I wanted to start by saying we've done a lot this year, a lot we're really proud of. It's a great team, the best team I can imagine working with. And what we've done on a lot of these different issues, I'll just leave you one other person that came on board. Her name is Melissa McCall. Melissa McCall is, Luke Bronin always tells me, you owe me, you owe me, you owe me, because she was a CFO at the city of Hartford, right on the edge of bankruptcy. And she was not there, she was there to put out the fire. And I said, we have a state that, really has some fiscal issues, and I need you to come on board. And Melissa, we're going to have to present our budget in about 60 days. And Melissa, we've got about a $3.7 billion deficit we're looking at. Melissa, I told people I wasn't going to raise any tax rates. And Melissa, I said I'm keeping faith with education. You want the job? She said, let's go. I'm ready to go. And she was just amazing. Sitting there over at OPM, the security guys are turning out the lights, and she was still working it with her team. And I'm really proud of what she was able to accomplish, what we're able to do with the legislature in terms of a good, honest budget that we got done on time. And we got some work to do. We got an editorial note in the Wall Street Journal the other day. They don't necessarily love Connecticut, you maybe noticed. And they said, Lamont and his administration inherited a deep hole. At least he stopped digging. Okay, I'll take that. And then yesterday, I don't know if you saw, but we issued another round of bonding, and Bloomberg said something interesting. Not the mayor, but the news organization, financial. And they said, Connecticut bonds last year were selling like BBB. Now they're selling like AAA. This is a company that is slowly getting its fiscal house in order. This is a state that is slowly getting its pension obligations stabilized. This is a state that has got its rainy day fund ready to weather the storms that may come. And this is why it's not just important for the financial community, but when I've got to sell the state of Connecticut, make people believe in the state of Connecticut, make you believe in the state of Connecticut. When companies come in here and always ask me, how's the fiscal thing going? I can say we're making progress. We're not out of the woods, but we're making progress every day. Yeah, okay, so back to tolls. It took a little bit of a toll, I get it. My kids are killing me. My kids, gave me a book, early Christmas present, Dad, For Whom the Bell Tolls. Ha ha. Blanchard, we had our holiday party for residents yesterday. He said, we're not going to have Toll House cookies going. We're going to have user fee cookies. But we're going to fix our transportation. And we're going to fix our transportation system in an honest way. Look, down in Washington, they want to build walls. And Don, you were saying, here we're building bridges. And that's part of what we got to do in transportation to rebuild our really old infrastructure. And that's also part of what we got to do in terms of relationships in this state that we're getting frayed. And I'm doing everything I can when it comes to the business community to make sure that you're welcome again. You know that we're on your side, we're fighting for you. And I say the same thing to labor. We're all in this together. What we've got to do hand in hand. And also say this to my friends in the legislature, Democrat and Republican alike. At the end of the day, we're all in this because we love the great state of Connecticut. We're all in this because we're here to make a difference. And one of my colleagues I'd like to invite up is Len Fasano, who is, come on up, Len, if you're willing. Truth be told, Len and I don't always agree. But what I love about Len is everybody else is a critic on the sideline throwing barbs, and Len always comes forward with a constructive solution, and the numbers add up, and that's how you begin negotiations. So you're going to be naughty or nice. You're on, Len.
The governor called me yesterday afternoon and said, hey, what are you doing Friday morning? And I said, gee, what do you need? And he said, can you show up to the Middlesex chamber? I just want you to come. So I have no idea what this is about. But then I started to look, and Larry, you guys have done such a great job. I've never seen such a packed house for a chamber. So this morning I woke up and I said, well, I've got to do something a little special. So if you'll indulge me, I know. It was days before Christmas, in an event at the Chamber. Governor Lamont invited me to meet his members. A yearly tradition, the governor did say, and he asked me if I would come and stay. So here I am to give it a try, and in true governor spirit, I came without a tie. All of the tables are dressed with various dishes, Governor Lamont to tell about his holiday wishes. He stood there and told stories that he told about large hoops, these things we call tolls. He tried to sell his plan from town to town, but he met with people who had large frowns. He still went toe-to-toe, saying to fix these roads, we need more dough. As he talked about our tolls and the roads we must fix, many of us thought, this is a plan we must nix. Many of us thought the plan was, as a plan we did en masse to give people back the dollars they're overtaxed. The Dems say we can't be done. Besides, we need to tax everyone. Still on the side of his road with the bluster, the majority of votes he could not muster. The Dems said a toll vote isn't easy. The elections of 2020 make us very uneasy. I can hear Governor Lamont say, Senate and Dems, we need to toll. Let's toll them. Only trucks. There should be no fuss. I am your leader. Give me your trust. The delay of the vote is now all but certain. Some things, maybe the tolls are reached their final curtain. But all I can say for this holiday season, your money is safe, and here's the reason. For at least 1 year, with the glee, I can say that the roads of Connecticut will remain tax-free. And so as I leave and get out of your sight, Merry Christmas to all, and to all.